Hey everybody, this is it. This is the first video I've climbed into the YouTube machine, and I am ready. I'm not really ready. I don't know how to animate anything. I barely know how to run this video software I'm messing with. I just learned that audio drift is a thing where my camera and microphone can't agree on how long a second is. Hello everybody, this is Pepper Coyote, and you're listening to Dog Whistles, a show about online discourse that is also partly about dogs because coyotes are dogs and I occasionally play a whistle. Do you get it? Do you get? Calling people fat idiots on the internet is fun. I mean, if it wasn't, we wouldn't have literal millions of people, children, doing it in comment sections across the web. One constant I found in humanity is our willingness to insult one another from a distance over the internet. And for the record, you should know that this video is kind of intended for people who want to go and talk to people online. People who think that talking to people still does something and somehow can help. So if your goal is to go out and troll people or to just get out aggression or just yell at somebody you don't like, I can't really stop you. I'm talking to my fellow intellectuals who might want to argue a little bit better on the internet, get their ideas across in a more effective way. I've been watching this guy Shaun, who proposes in far more detail than me strategies to actually go about changing people's minds. You can be as right as you want, but when it comes to voting time, numbers are what matter. So let's get to the point here. Insults indicate failure. Let's define insults. To oversimplify, I consider any term with the sole purpose of putting the opponent down. Opponent, that makes it sound way more severe than it's meant to. That also has little to no relevance to the subject being discussed, I'm gonna call an insult. It's probably an insult if, one, it's something they can't control. If it's just a physical features of theirs or the way they were born, or things like that. Two, if it's provably false and everyone kind of knows it's false. If it's just a straight up rumor, something that didn't really happen or isn't really true about this person, but people just keep saying it because they know it gets to them. It's probably an insult. Three, it's irrelevant to the subject at hand. This covers cosmetic things like calling people fat or old or balding, things that don't really have anything to do with what they're saying, but might be effects of how they look or how they were born. More on that in a second. It also covers terms like SJW and cuck, beta, weird stuff like that kind of seem oh, this might have some political meaning behind it, but it really doesn't. It's also a whole host of dog whistles that really only get thrown there as code words to try and encourage other internet onlookers to pile on, or as I like to call it, hurt you signaling. Haha, you get it? It's like virtue signaling, but I put a spin on it. God, I am so clever. I'd also discourage using loaded words that have so many meanings to so many different people that they're pretty much useless without a kind of massive footnote discussion clarifying what you mean when you say words. So skip that and just say what you mean. And this brings me to my larger point here. What's the point of talking to people? When I send a message online, my goal is to convey meaning. I want someone to receive information. And you might be thinking, yeah, duh. But here's the deal. Half of the internet mewling these days comes from people not saying what they mean, and it ends up accidentally making victims out of some pretty despicable people in some people's eyes. Let me give two very different examples. If you wanted to go about criticizing Barack Obama, what words would you choose? Are these words what you really mean? I'm not happy with all the drone strikes. I think they probably kill more civilians than the military wants to let on. I'm not big on all the snooping the NSA is doing and how it got worse under his leadership. I'm also not happy with how the people who brought all this snooping to our attention were treated once they let us in on all this stuff. Now, these are things we can talk about, things we can debate, things worth debating, at least in my opinion. You know what isn't helpful to this end? Making fun of his blackness, making fun of his upbringing, calling him a secret Muslim, implying he somehow isn't American at all, and this is due to some grand conspiracy in which a Kenyan guy plots to create a sleeper cell that will one day grow up to overthrow the US government by giving people access to healthcare or something like that. There is plenty to criticize Obama for, and people go for the worst stuff. But you know who gets gone after for even dumber stuff? My current president. Wait, wrong timeline. Our current president, Donnie Trumpo. Trump is being cyberbullied and we need to stop. But not for the reasons you would think. If you wanted to criticize D-Dog Trumbus, how would you do it? What words would you use? What words do you mean? I don't like the contempt for the free press that's so central to our democracy. I don't like how he wants to keep people out of the U.S. seemingly based on hunches and skin color. I don't like how we continue to be told Medicare for all is an insane pipe dream while a border wall system that has a current price tag of around $200 billion is seen as a real thing that will actually happen. I don't like the lying. I don't like the lying. I don't like the lying. So with all of this happening, I get a little annoyed when the best we have for him online is talking about his skin tone, his weight, his hair. By the way, my hat today brought to you by the fact that my hair is kind of standing up. I also just like hats. And yeah, it is crooked. It's crooked on purpose. I'm kind of a fashionismo, and I'm pioneering new ground here with cockeyed hats. This is the kind of stuff I made fun of my Burger King manager for, because I didn't really have an argument. I just hated working at Burger King. What's the point of talking to people? If the best argument you have against someone is that they're a fat old idiot who looks dumb, maybe push back the keyboard and take a break because you don't have an argument. The best you'll get is some of your Twitter followers liking your sick burn. You've transmitted no ideas. You've just reminded a bunch of people who already agree with you that they agree with you. President equals dumb and bad. Got it. What is the point of talking to people? Instead of going after people for superficial reasons, go after them for their ideas. It's the internet. All you have is your ideas and a little icon. And mine's of a dog person, so no one really takes me seriously anyway. All right, I've been rambling for a long time, and it's kind of late, and I should probably wrap this up. But that's kind of the problem right now. You might be thinking, I don't really want to go online and have to explain all this stuff that everyone should already know. It's not my job to be nice to awful people until they change their minds. I don't have time for this. And you're kind of right. I mean, people being unaware of things going on around them is frustrating. You know what's more frustrating? They're going to go vote based on that incomplete information. Being nice to awful people who have no interest in returning the same level of courtesy really sucks, but hey, you don't have to be nice per se, you just have to make effective arguments. Even if you don't convince the person you're talking to, and you won't, other people will see the conversation thread. Over time, onlookers will recognize the reasonable, fact-based arguments and dismiss the ranty, insult-ridden ones. You don't have the time? Understandable. But you know who does have the time? Me. I'm kidding. All right, the people who seem to have all the time in the world for this are far right-wing people. There's been a movement for a while now aiming to groom teenagers and college-age people for joining white supremacist movements. The people who are very willing to talk about their ideas in pseudo-intellectual tones are the red pillars and the race realists and the white nationalists. There's been a lot of work done to put a positive and even academic face on things like racism, sexism, transphobia. And there's been a lot of work to put a negative spin on things like affordable healthcare, legal immigration, and even worker protections. If you don't get your voice out there in a reasonable, non-insulting way, then that's the only voice these kids are going to hear. But I'm kind of getting off topic. Defend your ideas with ideas, not insults. It's a bad debate. Shows a lack of substance behind what you're saying and is generally unhelpful to the bigger goal of, effectively communicating ideas between people. The point of talking to someone. So, what do you think? Where have I gone wrong? Am I totally off base with this? Should we be out there just dunking on people whenever possible? Let me know in the comments. Bonus points if you can do it without being a big meanie. What do you think about me holding this mic? Is that bad? Is that a little tacky? I see other people doing this on the internet. Nobody seems to care. So I'm leaving this. This is how I record when I sing things. Thank you to my friends on Patreon. You're the reason that I can do any of this. It's the reason the music is happening. It's the reason I'm putting things on the internet. Because you gotta get, what do you gotta get? Look, I gotta be able to afford this. Look, you can't just go get the Crimson Skies for Xbox Prima official strategy guide. Looks Toys R Us. It's $15. Someone once really paid $15 for this. We got it out of a garbage can. Oh, Whiplash. That game was gonna exist. Remember that? Remember that thing? Jesus. Very special and specific thanks to Juan Galicia. Fur. Bubbles the Fennec. Ruth. Foxamore. Andrew Corvin. Strontium. Brendan Fancy Fox. Sully. Omega Dragon. Matthew B. Routes Clamar. Clamor? Ricardo Humpus. Brexton. Silverwolf 1122. Ethan Long. Ty Husky. Nyox. Nyox. I don't know. Webster Leone. Webster Leone. Dead Picat. Dead Picat. Jacob Stellato. Elizabeth Melanson. Elizabeth Melanson? Wheelie. Silver Gadoman. Bryant Holmes. Blue Gray Fox. Musical Husky. And Petrov Neutrino. That one might be a bot. I don't know. Been watching the news. Petrov Neutrino. Thank you very much for being here, guys. And hey, if you want to do the thing, the links are all over the place. You don't need to. I do a thing called Fancy Dinner, where if we hang out, you vote on what I'm going to eat, and then I eat it. Let me know in the comments what I can do better, as I've never even done this. So there you go.